Hey, everyone. Good evening. I'm Pete Dalladay, voice of the Halifax Thunderbirds, along with Pat Gregoire. And Dana Jackson is with us as well here tonight. She's the third member of our broadcast crew, and it's obviously a little disappointing not to be in the nest tonight, getting ready for a big game. And but unfortunately, that's not happening, but we're all together, which is important. And want to welcome everyone here. Tonight's very first sort of big table talk. It's all part of Virtual Nest, and tonight it's brought to you by Alexander Keese. So hopefully you get to enjoy one of those over the next hour or so. And without further ado, let's say hello. And looks like he's out of hair and makeup and ready to go. And that's our pal, Pat Gregoire. Patty, how you doing there, pal?
No makeup, but the hair, it's getting out of control. I need a haircut really badly. So, but no, it's good to see all the familiar faces again. Like you said, it's disappointing we're not inside the nest, but this is the closest thing that we've had to the nest in a really long time. So it should be a fun night. And for those that are tuning as well, in the chat, remind us if you want to ask any questions to the players. We also have some Thunderbird staff here as well. So write in the chat there, whatever your question may be, and we'll do our best as the host tonight to ask some of these guys some questions as well. And if you're watching on Facebook as well, you can chat in there as well. I know we'll be checking throughout the night as well.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. And certainly want to say hello to everyone. We'll get a chance to hopefully introduce every one of the guys and everyone from the staff that are here. But you might have a better look right now as to who's all with us here tonight. I know Coach Micah Kersey is there. I know our president, John Catalano, is on board. And some of the other staff, but maybe you can start off, Patty, by introducing some of the gang we have here tonight.
Yeah, sure. So there's going to be more players that are going to roll through the night here as well, too. So, but right now, as you can see on the screen, Chris Boucher, Clark Peterson, Colton Armstrong, Austin Shanks, Ryan Benesh, the captain, Cody Jamieson, Corey Becker, Luke Van Scheppen, Scott Campbell, Kyle Jackson's there as well. I believe Jake Withers just popped on there, and Chet Canensi as well, too. So local Nova Scotia boy, last but certainly not least. And as we mentioned, I think Mike Burke just popped in there as well. So I think I got everyone. Like I said, people are going to be trickling throughout here all night long. So as I mentioned before, also some coaches as well. So if you have any questions, we encourage you guys to write in that question and answer, and we'll try to get to it as soon as possible.
All right. Well, maybe the first question we should have, we'll start off with the coach. Mike's there, ready to go. Coach Micah Kersey. How you doing, Mike? How are things going down there?
I'm doing good. I mean, I wish the weather was better. It was snowing down here today, but I wish I was in Halifax getting ready for a big game. But here we are. We're all trying to stay safe, and hopefully we can get back to it soon.
You got the beautiful city of Halifax behind you, though, a great backdrop. But it's been almost a year now since you kind of knew you were kind of heading down there, and the team was going to make Halifax the home. Just your overall thoughts on it, and I know it's come to a disappointing end as far as the regular season is concerned with COVID-19. But man, what an exciting sort of 10, 11 months it's been.
Yeah, I don't think we could have asked for a better reception in the town of Halifax and the province of Nova Scotia. I think it was overwhelming, I think, at times. I mean, you're unsure as to how it was going to be going to a new city, new colors, new everything. But the guys really embraced it, and the city embraced us as their own, and we saw the fans just flock, to come and see the Birds play. So we were super excited and happy to be there, and we know this is something that's going to be long-term for the city of Halifax, and we're excited to be part of it.
I know it's just the beginning, obviously, and it's tough also as well to pick out because it was only about, half of a regular season. But looking back at what was the first regular season for this organization, is there one memory that really jumps out that, 3-4 years down the line, you're going to remember that moment from the first regular season in Halifax?
I think every week's kind of been different moments where, you look back on and say, wow, but obviously the first game was tremendous, and the support that we got. But I think definitely one that sticks out for me was against the Saskatchewan Rush. We had a great battle. Obviously we were far behind after the first half, and the boys battled really hard in the second half. Came back, forced it into overtime. 2 goals called back. We ended up on the wrong side of that game, but to have 9,000 plus people stand and give you a standing ovation after a loss is something that I don't think I've ever seen before. And definitely to me is a memory that's going to stick with me for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I've ever left an arena before, a rink after a loss, for say, by the home team that felt almost like a win. It was certainly a crazy game, an exciting game, and I think got a lot of lacrosse fans in Nova Scotia hooked on Thunderbirds lacrosse. Even though it was a loss, it was one of the most amazing comebacks we've ever seen that almost went Thunderbirds' way. Maybe I think Ryan Benesh is there. Benny, how you doing? How are you holding up? I've been following you on Instagram. It looks like you're getting outside quite a bit. Couple little flyers in the back and making the best of all this.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously times are tough, right? So you just got to make do with what you got. And I'm lucky enough. I've been back to work for the last 3 weeks. But before that, I was off for a little while and had my younger brother with me for a little bit. We kept ourselves busy. We made food and did a bunch of stuff. We built a little a makeshift driving range. We had some scrap wood that we found around the job site and a leaf net or whatever, and we just we found a way to stay entertained. And I think that was probably the biggest thing for us, is just trying to find something to do and stay active and stay just not dwell into the couch and watch TV or Netflix or whatever. So it's definitely been a weird, difficult time, but I think we my brother and I and my fiance Jade, we found a way to keep ourselves entertained and stay positive.
Now, obviously, similar question to what Pete asked Coach Mike Kersey. You come into this season in a new city, a city that's not quote unquote a lacrosse hotbed, if you will. What were the first reactions when you got to the city, and just like at the drop of a hat, this city completely embraced the team?
Yeah. Well, I mean, to be honest with you, it was definitely one of those things where you were kind of questioning, how things would pan out, how the fans would react to us, what kind of support we get throughout the city. And, after the first week that we were there, we found out, firsthand that, everybody in Halifax is on our side, and they are a part of our team and our culture. And, it's surprising to see the support that we got, but is also greatly appreciated. And, I don't think that we would have done as well as we have through the first, half of the season if we didn't have that support.
Just a question. Thanks, Benny, by the way. Question for Kyle Jackson. Kyle, you've been, still down there and in Halifax, in the area, you and Dana, and what's the mood like down there? And since the season sort of came to a pause there, I know you're doing your best to spread the word and the brand and such, but how are things down there right now?
I guess first things first, it's been a little eerie, I guess, just with everything that's gone on. I mean, it seems week by week there's something new that arises in Halifax, unfortunately. And I mean, obviously our prayers go out to everyone that was affected by everything that's happened this last month or so. And we're obviously saying prayers on prayers for everybody down here, but there's not a whole lot going on. We had a flyover one day and it was beautiful outside for the first time in a while. And so it was packed downtown. Obviously everyone was keeping their social distancing, but it was still packed, and it was kind of nice to see some people out and about for the first time with some nice weather. And aside from that, there's not a whole lot that's going on. We're still trying to grow the word as much as we possibly can. And we're running a lot of junior Thunderbirds virtual workouts, which has been kind of cool and unique because a lot of those little guys jump on and we just do some body weight workouts where they don't need any weight. It's really just in a 4x4 space, and that's all that they need. So that's been pretty awesome. And we're trying to kind of be as local as possible and support local as much as we can around here. Usually Saturdays and Sundays are kind of our time to go out and grab some food from somewhere that's local and just try our best to support out here.
Right on. Pat, who do you got lined up next for us?
You know what? We'll jump over. Like I said, the captain, Cody Jamieson, he jumped on. I think he was one of the first guys to pop on. Cody, how are you doing? How are you hanging in self-isolation life right now?
Life isn't bad. I got three kids at home, so they keep me pretty busy. My 10-year-old son, he's getting pretty good at video games, so it's exciting for me because I finally got somebody to play video games with.
That's awesome.
What's it been like, Cody? I was going to ask you and some of the other guys on the team and the coaches that have kids. What's it been like for them as they're trying to learn online? And how's it been family-wise that way?
I think the hardest part is trying to keep them engaged in schoolwork. They're at home, so they know their Xbox is in the room or their iPad sitting right there or whatnot. So it's hard to keep them engaged when we try and do schoolwork, but we try to do some work every day. Just doing our best to try and keep them active, their brains active. We're outside a lot. One of the good things about being living in the country is we can go outside and we can go for walks in the bush and play outside in our big yard. So we're outside a lot and physical activity.
Keeping the stick in your hands for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, big time. My kids are good about it. Like it's always some kind of sport. It's always some kind of game that we're doing, whether football, basketball, lacrosse, hockey. We got everything out there, so it's fun.
Now, so we'll switch from one veteran to another. Scott Campbell, how's things going over there with keeping to try to stay in shape? As you know, you are one of the older players on the team, but obviously you have to keep you got to keep your fitness up as one of the older guys, right?
Yeah, for sure. I got a dusty old garage that at the start of this I was able to clean out, and the CrossFit gym that I belong to was kind enough to lend me some weights and some equipment, and Kurt set us up with some TRXs, and so I got a nice little home gym kind of going. So it's when I'm done playing all the Princess Pretend games, or I need a little break from all the girls in my house here, I sneak out into the garage and get a workout in. So it's actually been fun, and I'm actually starting to think about maybe adding more to it and making it maybe a full-time garage gym. So it's nice to be able to just pop out there whenever you want.
Well, that's awesome. I know Coach Akerzy's thinking about building a dance studio right in his house so he can do more TikToks. Talk to us about that, Mike. It's been a lot of fun following you and the girls on TikTok during this whole time.
Yeah, we've been having some fun with it. Again, just kind of going along with, stay at home, do your social distancing. So, the girls and I decided it'd be something fun to try and something to do. The girls love to dance, so I got 2 left feet, so it takes me a long time to learn those dances, but they're patient with me and help me. So it's been lots and lots of fun.
You like to dance though too. Come on.
Yeah.
I don't mind it. I don't mind it now. Based on the responses, I'm actually pretty proud of myself. So it's definitely gotten better at it for sure.
Curse, how many down and backs do you make them do though?
Oh, I make down backs every day, man. Don't worry. My girls can out push with you any day of the week. I can guarantee it.
I don't doubt it.
I see. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Pete.
I was just going to say that the first shot has been taken here. The first pretty good jab has been taken here.
Yeah. My girls can probably outwork me. And the one day we were sitting on the couch and Izzy, who's right here, said, "You want to see me do sit-ups?" And I said, "Sure, let's see how many you can do." I made her stop at 120, so she can crush it. So these girls are in fantastic shape from dance, and yeah, I think they would give the boys a run for their money. That's for sure.
All right, Gregor, what else you got there, Bo? Patty.
We have a question here from Brad. It's Brad Bissett from PEI. He has a question for Kyle and Chet. As the game grows in the Maritimes and new players and parents are being exposed to the game, opportunities for college and university are obviously, they don't seem that there's maybe quite as much exposure in the Maritimes. Do you guys have any tips or any experience that can allow them to, get recruited and potentially play, at the next level?
I'll defer to Kyle on this one.
I think that's a question that a lot of people have, a lot of parents have, especially in the Maritimes. I use myself as an example. Sarnia isn't the biggest hotbed of lacrosse in the entire world. So I was kind of in a similar boat where I was always having to drive long distances in order to play virtually any games at a higher level. I grew up playing BC lacrosse. And so for people out in the Maritimes, as long as you love playing the game and you love truly just grabbing your stick and going out and having fun, that's going to push you harder to at least go out and exercise, be active with your stick, get a little bit more experience, exposure just on your own, so that when it comes game time and you're playing a game, that word's going to get out a little bit better. Okay, now this person's starting to grow in the league. He's starting to get a little bit better. He's somebody that you should start watching out for. And then that just translates to the next level of somebody else communicating. And it ends up being word of mouth. And virtually before you know it, someone, I'll use at the Hill Academy, for example, ends up reaching out to a guy like Bill Greer when I was playing for Kitchener and says, "Hey, do you have anybody that would be interested in coming to our school?" And so it's experiences like that where it ends up being word of mouth. Guys understand what lacrosse caliber you're capable of. And before you know it, that'll find itself, as long as you truly enjoy going out there and playing the game of lacrosse. If your sole purpose is to literally just go out and get recruited, it's going to be a lot harder of a process, because that's all that they're going to be thinking about on a consistent basis. And they're not going to really enjoy the whole experience of just grabbing your stick, running out, grabbing a wall, and throwing and playing wall ball for 20 minutes a day. So, that's my biggest advice, is make sure that if you do want to go play collegiately or at any level, Division I, Division II, Division III, it doesn't matter. They're all great at this point. But you really need to love what you're doing in order to excel at that next level and get that exposure that you're seeking.
Just to piggyback on that too, from the experience I had with Nova Scotian kids trying to get to the collegiate level, it seems to be a common goal for people. And it was the big debate, is like, do I go D2 or D3, or do I stick with the high performance program here, which was at my time, I was saying, like, stick with me. And it's, some people might argue otherwise, but it's kind of like Kyle played in Kitchener and went to the Hill from there. So like, I'm trying to like push for people to try to go play high level box lacrosse, and that being the ticket to say, to being the person who's recruited, because seemingly they love our skill sets, and they'll find you eventually. But to go to a mediocre D2 school and pay, or go to a prep school per se and spend that extra money that you'd be spending potentially at a D2 or D3 or even a D1 school, you can stay home now, especially with us in town, and really hone your skill sets. That at the end of the day is what's going to get you there. It doesn't really matter per se. I never played there, Kyle did, but like, I just think there's a lot of people pushing you in all kinds of different directions, and really we're getting the scholarships from the box lacrosse. We're getting the opportunities from the box lacrosse. And I picked up field in 1 month and got 5 scholarship offers to the States. I didn't go because it was a 75% offer, and I was paying $3,000 less to go to school in Canada. So I stayed, and I ended up playing junior A at a high level, and that worked out for me. So, you're rolling the dice a bit, but I say the box is where we're getting all these opportunities from.
Well, it was a great question and great answer, guys. We have our owner and general manager of the Thunderbirds joining us tonight. We're very pleased that Kurt Stiers is able to take part. Kurt, how are you? Hope you're having a great Saturday, and talk a little bit about just how this all started and the journey, you know, that you guys started off on and ended up, of course, in Halifax. Tell us about that special journey to the East Coast.
Yeah, the journey started a while ago, probably in 2007 when the World Games were there. And I know a couple of the owners of the NLL, they were talking about that should be the next big city. And there was Bruce Irvin from Saskatchewan and Jamie Dahlwerk from Toronto. At one point, we were making a plan to go to Halifax with all three of us. You know, we're going to go there and put a team there. But it so happened, but we didn't. I don't know, just got busy doing some other things, but we ended up had an opportunity to go, and we were actually ready to go like the last year, like year before. Got kind of tied up in politics, so we ended up staying one more year in Rochester. And but since we got to Rochester this year, it's amazing. The city's amazing. The fans are incredible. You know, this atmosphere, compared that from us going from Rochester to Halifax, where you come out of the arena and just walk out and go to multiple restaurants where you can go to. In Rochester, we were making sure that you know, we went back to the hotel compared to going to like a restaurant or something downtown.
It all kind of started, I mean, that canoe journey though, and when you arrived in Halifax, that must have been a special day.
Yeah, we were talking at the distillery. I told like we was making a plan. I told some of the staff from Halifax, I said, I'm gonna canoe there, and they kind of chuckled about it. They flew to Rochester. They didn't really know where Six Nation was at that point. But I told them I was going to do it, and they gave me a little card that was, you know, do the journey. I'd have to look for the card, but it was pretty special on that day. They took it upon themselves to give it to me. And on July 11th, we had we kicked it off. And I told a few people what I was going to do. And at one point, I said, well, I got to get going. You know, summer's going by here. So we set a date. July 11th, we left from here. We had a little ceremony, and we had a lacrosse game. And after the game, we had put the canoe right behind my house, and away we went. It took a while to get from the Mackenzie Creek to the Grand River. A lot of obstacles, a lot of low water. Once we got into the Grand River, that was a little easier. But as the waters got bigger and bigger, we needed different canoes to get there. And when we got from the Grand River to Lake Erie, then we got out to the lake, and there's Luke Magna and myself were in a canoe, and I said, well, let's see what this canoe can do. And we went out to the lighthouse to take a picture. We took a couple of pictures, and waves weren't huge or anything, but they were like 1.5 feet or so. But we tried to canoe from there. You know, we basically just got in a canoe and went into the water, and that was really cold water. It took my breath away. And my daughter she was there on one of those paddle boards, and she was watching us, filming us, and me and Luke was upside down in the water. So we were about 150 yards off the shore. So we had to, about 100 yards, I guess, but we had to dog paddle in, dragging a canoe behind us because we couldn't turn that canoe back over to get going again. So we got back to the shore, and my daughter says, what'd you learn today? And I said, well, first thing I learned, I said, well, I got to make sure that I take all the cameras from these guys so you don't take pictures when they dump it like that.
Great story. Patty, I believe, thanks, Kurt, by the way. We got some more questions coming in.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's switch it over to Austin Shanks. Austin, how are you doing in self-isolation life right now?
Good. Just kind of stay busy, and we actually started doing a lot of these calls throughout the week, so it's nice seeing the team on a weekly basis like we used to. We used to have practice Wednesdays and then obviously the weekends. So just getting these Zoom calls, an experience like this, and just talking to the team and hearing some stories again, just being with the group again, it's cool, and kind of rolling into playoffs, and hopefully can get that rolling, and that can come together and get back out there.
Now, we were talking about some of the best memories from the season so far, and that Saskatchewan game was repeated time after time again. I think I have an idea, so I'm not even going to let you pick. I'm just going to ask you, what was the energy like from the building when you scored that goal to tie things up and eventually go into overtime?
It was pretty cool. Like, I think we just kind of knew it was going to happen. We went out there really confident. We were obviously on a roll. We couldn't miss as a team, and the fans were behind us. It gave us so much energy. Even the goals before that, leading up, I felt like every goal just shot our whole bench up with energy. And the fans were electric, and they were standing, I feel, for like 5 minutes straight. And then when that goal, they went crazy, and it was a pretty special game and pretty cool to be a part of.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. I know when we were up in the broadcast booth, I could barely hear Pete, call the goal beside me. The crowd was so loud, and you could really feel the electricity throughout the building. And I think that moment, that game, that goal, and like we said, even though you guys didn't come out with a win, I think that was like the exclamation mark for not just, the city, but the entire lacrosse world, that, Halifax is now a lacrosse city, and they've completely embraced that team. I think it was just a really special moment. I felt, and like I said, I could feel the electricity through the building. So
yeah,
we know,
absolutely.
sorry, I was going to say, we know we got a lot of guys on here, so we're going to switch our attention. We've talked to some veterans. We haven't talked to a rookie yet. So let's talk to Clark Peterson. Clark, how are things going right now for you?
Things are going pretty well. I'm here in Toronto with my family. Just been nice to spend some time with them. Trying to stay safe, practice social distancing, but also get some workouts in and stay in shape, and, keep my stick in my hands just to keep myself busy as well. So that's what I've been up to.
Have you got a haircut yet?
No haircut, Benny.
Let's
I think
see
it looks
this
better
number.
long though.
Let's see it then.
No.
You'd see the lettuce poking through the back a little bit there. So obviously I mentioned, there you go. Obviously I mentioned you are a rookie, so your rookie regular season was cut a little bit short. But just maybe mention what the transition was like from, playing junior NCAA. You obviously played a little bit of senior as well, but it still is quite that big jump once you get to the National Lacrosse League, isn't it?
Yes, for sure. Definitely is. I think that, whenever you talk to anybody about moving up from one level to the next one, they always talk about the speed of the game and how it picks up at every level. So I think that's an obvious thing that, you can kind of expect as you're progressing through, you're getting older in your career, and you're starting to move to higher levels and stuff like that. You can always expect the speed to go up. So I think that it was really important just to have, like the guys that we have on this chat, the veterans to be around, right? So Benny and Jammer to kind of help me get up to speed as quickly as possible, because it's not just on the floor that's kind of the speed of the game picks up, it's off the floor as well, right? So you're traveling every weekend, and you got practice on midweeks, and you kind of get into a routine. So it's good to have some veterans around you to push you through that and help you kind of get in your groove and get your routine. I think Soupy Scott Campbell is a big one who helped me as well. Him, myself, Graham Hossick, and Luke Magnon, we all kind of carpooled together to practices. Just it was nice. Luke's actually nice enough to drive all the time. He let me take naps in the back, so I'd be sleeping most of the way there. But it was really good just to have that as a support system to, good leaders on our team to help me guide through my process getting into this league.
That's awesome. I know anytime I talk about, the Halifax Thunderbirds in this roster here, one of the things I always mention, it's the perfect blend of young, youthful players with some veterans and then some players that are right in the middle of their prime as well. So we'll switch things. Like I said, we got a lot of questions to ask you from different players, but I do have one question here from Natasha. She says her son Braden has a question. What position would you suggest a beginner to start out with? He currently plays right defense in hockey. So I figure the perfect guy to ask for this is a guy that has played high-level hockey as well, not just national lacrosse. Like, that's Brandon Robinson. You're a guy that's a dual athlete. Is there any sort of correlation that you could maybe suggest for Braden?
I think at the beginning, just playing both ways in lacrosse is the best way to do it. I mean, when you're younger, growing up, you don't play offense, defense, right? You go both ways. You usually go out, play offense, go back, play defense. As the ball's transitioning up the floor, you run off and change. So do both, see what you like. I know I've played both up until now, still play both. So, I mean, when you're starting out, you want to do that. But as you progress, obviously, the older you get, guys kind of find a little niche. You kind of see guys want to play defense. And, some guys, it's more stick skills aren't there. So they're better off on defense, very similar to hockey. And then, there's obviously guys who are a little more skilled and are going to go out the offensive door.
Now, I know there's a lot of discussion throughout both hockey and lacrosse, and I think we've had a few conversations about it. If someone was, playing both and was thinking about maybe giving up lacrosse or giving up hockey, what's the advice for you for maybe not even just hockey and lacrosse, but multiple sports? Do you think that, at kids when they're young, it's beneficial to play, multiple sports throughout the year?
I mean, I did it, so obviously I'm going to say yes. I just think, going from hockey to lacrosse, for me, it was a nice little break. Switch it up. You get to miss the game a little bit. I would not skate, wouldn't even touch my hockey stuff, 2-3 months after it ended. I would just strictly focus on lacrosse. And then as the summer kind of wore down and hockey was starting up again, it would be, the transition back that way. For me, I loved it. Like I said, it was a nice little break. But you still stay in that competitive spirit, right? There's not that downtime where in the summer you got 4 or 5 months off from hockey and some guys just sit around. Bad habits can creep in where when you're constantly, playing and switching it up, you're teaching your body new things too, right? Running and skating, two completely different things. And, for me, I think it was beneficial for me and, I'm still doing it to this day and, I love it. So I would suggest for anyone, if you want to play two sports, try anything. Play multiple sports, do it. I think it's not going to do anything.
Yeah, just on that, Pat. I think from a coaching standpoint, I think it's important for players to learn both ends of the floor, both offense and defense. I mean, you look at guys like Scott Campbell who can play fantastic defense, yet he can move into the offensive zone and he still knows the basic principles of offense. And, he got some big goals in that Saskatchewan game simply because, he put himself in the right spot. And, you have to be a complete lacrosse player, I think, especially young, until you define a skill set. And I think the older years are better when you become kind of more of a specific player. I think Brandon kind of touched on that. So, I encourage all players to, learn both ends of the floor. It's important to know how to play good defense, but it's also important to know how to move your feet and score goals when you need to. So the more well-rounded a player you are, the more of a benefit you are to your coaches and to your team.
Absolutely. For anyone that's just joining us, want to welcome everyone that came in maybe a little later, which is really cool. That's fine too. This is our very first ever sort of virtual nest. It's called Table Talk, and so lucky to have a lot of the guys, the coaches, players, and office staff and families as well joining us here. I'm Pete Dalladay along with Pat Gregoire, our third member of our broadcast team. Dana's out there in Halifax as well. Want to say hello to her. And it's all brought to you by Alexander Keese. And we should mention too, Patty, they have delivery now. You can check it out on their website, and they'll deliver right there in the Halifax area, right to your porch. that's the one good thing that's come out of this whole COVID-19 is you can now get anything pretty much delivered right to your porch. It's just not pizza anymore. So they will deliver to your porch. We appreciate their sponsorship and their affiliation with the Thunderbirds, and watch for a big announcement coming out later this week with Alexander Key. So check out their social feeds all next week and for a big announcement. I believe Pat, we have Warren Hill joining us here as well. The King of the Hill is on the line with us. Warren, good evening. How you doing there, pal? Good to see you.
Hey, good to see you guys. I'm doing all right. Just hanging out. Really slow.
Yeah, I don't know if you got the best connection going there, but or maybe it's just me. I don't know. Maybe it's my. But you look good.
Well, if we can, Warren, if we can get this from you, we have an awesome question actually from Facebook. How are goalies staying focused in game and staying in that game shape with the time off? Obviously, you know, players can go for a run, they can hit the wall, they can shoot on a net, but for goalies, it's kind of tough when you're self-isolating, can't really soak any shots in the net, right?
Yeah, so kind of right now, just been focused on personally, like just physical fitness, reviewing a lot of game film, and yeah, it's pretty difficult to find.
Warren, you gotta log off Call of
someone
Duty,
to give you shots or anything like that. There's nowhere to really do it, but I've just kind of been experimenting with different hand-eye drills, using tennis balls, cross balls down in the basement, like that.
All righty. Well,
perfect.
Yeah, that's
there we
awesome.
go.
Damn.
I heard hand-eye coordination, tennis balls, lacrosse balls. I think. But yeah, no. I think you nailed it on the head. It's definitely tough for goalies. Maybe we'll get you to write it out and send them a letter. What you were saying there. It sounded like it was good stuff.
But Pat, you know, what about the play though of Warren this year? It's just been so fun to watch him. I mean, he just went on that roll where he went on a winning streak, hadn't lost, so going back to last season, and then you know, just an unbelievable start to the season, and picked up the nickname a little bit too, King of the Hill, nest protector. Like he just really became a fan favorite among some other guys as well in Halifax.
Oh, absolutely. And I think a lot of the guys in this chat, whether it's a coach, player, fan, whatever it may be, agrees that a lot of the success that they had throughout the season was because of a good play in Warren Hill. You know, you got to build your team from the net out. And I do really believe, and a lot of people, not just people in Halifax, all across the National Lacrosse League really noticed the goaltending of play of Warren Hill. So I see a lot of players shaking their heads, and they agree. There's no doubt that he should be, in my mind, in the conversation for goaltender of the year, no doubt.
Absolutely. Jake Withers still with us here. Jake scored the first goal for the Halifax Thunderbirds. Took him like 9 seconds, I believe, 9 or 10 seconds. Jake, take us back to opening night. Take us back to that goal and how things are going for you out there in beautiful Otonabee Township. Or is he not here? I thought he was there, but maybe he's not there.
I think he's dropping in.
He's coming in?
No,
he just entered the gulag.
Okay. Well, we'll move on, Patty, in the meantime.
Yeah, no worries. I think he was on. I don't know. I think once Shanksy got off, he probably figured since they're a package deal, he could sign off too. So.
Well, I don't even know.
Peterborough connection is not very good.
Otonabee.
That's true. That's
true.
He
may have internet problems out there in Keene for sure. Yeah.
So a name that some fans in Halifax that might not be too sure of is Luke Van Scheppen, obviously on the injured reserve list. So didn't get to play any games in Halifax during the regular season. Luke, how's the road to recovery going so far, buddy?
I mean, it's been going pretty well for me. I mean, yeah, when I first went down, it sucked because second-year guy in the new city, it's full of energy. You want to be a part of it. But My teammates have been great for me. They're always there for me when I need someone to text or call, when I'm going through a rough patch in the recovery process. So, yeah, no complaints there. I think teammates are a big part of it. Recently, I got my brace. I've been able to start running, which has been great, kind of getting those feet moved again, getting the feel for it. But, yeah, just having a great teammates to fall back on to really make the whole recovery process more enjoyable and more doable. So.
Have you been able to get out to any of the games in Halifax this season?
Yeah, I was at a couple in Halifax. I was in the ones closer to home as well, so in Toronto, Buffalo, those areas. But yeah, the Halifax games were unreal. Just the fan base and the atmosphere, just unreal. Definitely top of the league for me.
As someone who was able to watch the season from afar, just what were your thoughts? The team obviously went on that run and ended up, being near the top of the league standings. What were your thoughts that your teammates did in that short regular season?
It was phenomenal. Everyone was clicking. Everything was going the way it should. From coach all the way down to goaltending, like we said with Warren Hill, everything was just spot on. Warren was making those big saves. Their D was getting big stops, and Neil was putting the ball in the net. So it's really all you can ask for from an organization standpoint. And it showed in the league standings because we were up there for the most part.
That's awesome. Well, Luke, we hope the road to recovery is still on track right now, obviously with social distancing, and we hope to see you sooner than later in a Halifax Thunderbirds jersey.
Thank you. Hope to be back soon too.
Let's switch gears. We'll go to another veteran, Mike Burke. Mike, how are things going? Looks like you're just in the same building as me behind you.
Absolutely. I can't get enough of this place. I wish we were back here. Yeah, things are going well. Keeping busy with work, working from home a lot. My fiance and I are basically off feet apart from each other, so we're trying to make that work. But yeah, everything's going well.
Now, you've been around a lot of teams at all different kinds of levels. For what, I've been around this team obviously from the start of the year. You could feel there's just some sort of camaraderie around this team that's special. Is this one of the closest knit groups that you've ever played with before?
Yeah, absolutely. Most teams that you play on, the guys, they get along. But with this team, there's a real sense of family, and the guys, they want to play for each other. And you could tell how close we are just with some of the jabs back and forth to each other and the laughs. And this team is unreal to even travel with, just the small things, not only missing the lacrosse side of it, obviously to compete with each other, that helps build that camaraderie. But right now I'm missing, little things like travel and just being with the guys. You forget to take that for granted during the times when you're able to do that. And when you sit back during something like this, you really miss that. So for sure, those are probably the things that going forward here, I look forward to most, getting back, competing, and being with the guys again.
I've asked this question a few times for a few people. Hopefully it's a different answer. If it's the same answer, that's fine. But is there one moment that really sticks out for you personally for the season? I know it was a short season, but is there one memory?
Yeah, I think for us, just showing up to Halifax for the first time for the scrimmage. When we showed up and saw that arena packed, we're used to playing scrimmages in front of just family and friends, and even some of the smaller markets you go to in the NLL, some of the games aren't that as well attended as they are in Halifax. And just showing up for a scrimmage right then and there, I think it energized the entire team. You saw how we started the season, and I think a lot of that was based off of the energy and kind of the sense of community we got by showing up to Halifax for that scrimmage. Right there, everybody knew that, okay, this is serious here. We have the team, we have the town or the city behind us. It's time to compete and represent them. Them coming to show up, like I said, for a scrimmage was unbelievable. So I think that kind of kick-started our season, and there's a reason why we went on that run, and we're dominant at the beginning of the year. And I think it stemmed from showing up to Halifax for that first time.
Well, one of the big parts, Pat, and you can touch on this and maybe ask one of the guys as well, is just what I picked up on anyhow is just that whole Halifax Maritimes East Coast vibe, whether it was the night night of the kitchen party or, whatever the case may be. There was just something special about that building and about playing home games there that I'm sure, it was just a neat change for everyone involved in the organization. And we should, give a shout out to Johnny and Charlie and Dana and all the staff that's on the line, because they just have done an amazing job building relationships with the fans and sponsors, and that feel in the nest is just like no other, really.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what, Avery, you're kind of someone behind the scenes that people don't get to see, but this obviously has to be pretty rewarding to see, going into a new market, not really knowing what to expect, but then obviously, if you build it, it will come, and it has certainly ended up being a major success in its first year.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's been incredible. Honestly, we've put in a lot of hours, a lot of long work, but we have a phenomenal team both on the floor and off the floor, and this is probably one of the strongest I've ever seen. So it's definitely been rewarding, especially all those long hours. But the Halifax community is just fantastic, and they really just, it's the same thing, build it and they will come. And they caught on to the chance right away, and yeah, I mean, it's fantastic. And we had Glow, who helped us with East Coast Lifestyle Night, and we had all those fisherman traps and things like that throughout the arena. So I think they really loved it, and that halftime performance was amazing. So we'll definitely be bringing that back, and we'll build on it every year. So yeah.
That's awesome.
Any more questions coming in, Pat? If anyone has a question, just fire away. I think time is flying by. We only got just over 10 minutes left, but it's been some great questions and some great conversations going on here.
Yeah, actually, before I pull up this question, I had a question. So,
okay,
for assistant coach Chad Culp, it's your first year coaching in the National Lacrosse League, and even there's some players, on this team that you were teammates with. So, what's the transition been like from on the floor to now onto the bench?
Especially the ones that I've played with, is I guess getting them to listen to me. Like run off the floor. There's a couple things that, are a little different than being a teammate or being a coach. So it's been an interesting transition, to say the least. And, so far I'm enjoying it.
That's awesome. Now, I actually did find that Facebook question. So here it goes. For Colton Armstrong, what is your favorite thing about playing for the Thunderbirds?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Loud and clear, buddy.
It's just the fact that it's a new city, a new town for us, and it's my first kind of full year in the NLL. So just the fact that we're playing for such a iconic city of Halifax, and it's just so cool just to go out every Saturday or whatever the game is and play for an awesome city, and to be the only professional lacrosse team there, or professional team there. They have the basketball, they have soccer, they have the Mooseheads, but now the Thunderbirds are there, and every time we go down the street, like, you see so many fans, so many people just like calling out Thunderbirds. They don't really know our names yet, but they know that we're the Thunderbirds. So it just kind of brings a smile to our face that we know that the city of Halifax is behind us all the time. So
that's awesome. Now, obviously, everyone's been talking about how they've been able to stay active, and I've seen on your social media you've been staying quite active. Maybe tell the folks watching what you've been doing to stay in shape.
Yeah, I bought a bike. Wizzy and Shanks bought one too. So I've been doing some mountain biking, but I try to get out every day to do a 5K. I went out last week and did a 15K run. I know it's not what we need, but I like to do endurance. I love my stamina, so I do some sprints here and there. But I get to the walls and do some wall ball. But other than that, I moved to Kingston with my girlfriend, so I've been doing at-home workouts with her, and just trying to keep healthy and just get ready for the lacrosse season to come back. So
awesome. We got another question here from Isaac. It's not for anyone, but I'm going to put this towards John. He says, I really like how the organization is trying to build the sport of lacrosse here in Nova Scotia. How important is it for the organization to have a loyal fan base at the start?
Well, I mean, fan base is a lifeblood of any organization, so it's extremely important. And we've been very fortunate that the fans that's on this call. The staff has done a great job, but we're very lucky with the players that we have. The engagement that they are willing to do it, and you can see it on the amount of guys we have on the call right now. So, they understand that they enjoy having the fans that we have there, and they enjoy interacting with them, and it shows. I mean, the results are showing for themselves. We have a team that really wants to be a part of the community, and that's something that we really were striving to do in year one, and I think we were successful in that.
Perfect. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Now we got another question here from Emily. Chris, what goes into a game day routine?
I mean, when we get there, usually the night before, and when we're in Halifax, first order of business is a cup of chowder, the seafood chowder at the hotel there. So that's order of business, number one. I don't know. We wake up in the morning, go to shoot around, and then usually grab a bite to eat. With regards to food, my meal of choice is usually some salmon and rice or something like that. And then honestly, like, the one thing I need to do on a game day is a long nap. That's my big thing, a long nap. And then, yeah, just get ready, get in the suit, and walk on over to the rink. So, I mean, it's nothing too crazy, but definitely is the same every time.
I know a lot of players, some are really superstitious, some aren't at all. Do you have any superstitions or pregame rituals that you have to do before any game?
Kind of like the simple ones, like taping my stick the same way before every game. But I guess one thing I do is, like, my left shoe, my left glove, my left elbow pad, that's always the first to go on before the right one. I don't know why. It makes zero sense. And it probably has no effect on how I play, but it's just always something I've always done growing up. So I just stick with it.
Hey, Chris, I remember a goal you scored, and I loved it because it was a fantastic goal. I think you fought off a couple checks, and then Patty followed up with Big Bad and Bushy. Great sort of description. Take us back to that night and that goal in particular.
Yeah, that was awesome. I mean, that was an exciting game too. I think we were down in that game as well. It was a really tight game, if I remember correctly. And I mean, we battled hard. That was my first game of the year, getting in the lineup there. So it was nice to get that going as well, and just, help the team win. But yeah, with regards to the actual goal, I mean, Berkey did a great job kind of fighting off some D guys there. I couldn't have an easier scoop if I wanted to. So I, just picked the ball up and went to the net. And there's like that move that I had that all the guys give me crap about all the time, and Coach Akurzi's always telling me to not do it, but it was like the one thing that I just had to do in that moment, I guess, or wasn't thinking clearly, but it worked. So hopefully I fought off some haters on that move that I like to do. But no, that was a great game, and obviously the fans were crazy, and yeah, it was just a good experience.
All right. Well, I'm glad it worked that time. Maybe not try it again then after I heard that.
Yeah, I think I'll retire after that one. I think that's it for me on that one.
Well, it made, I believe it made SportsCenter's top highlights of the month, and maybe I think Sportsnet as well. So there's a lot of film on it. So I think you might have to figure out a different move going forward. So.
Yeah. Okay.
This isn't a question, but it's a comment that I thought was really interesting. It was from Greg. He says lacrosse was actually bigger than hockey in Nova Scotia in the early mid-'70s. Yes, it's a long time ago, but Nova Scotia teams consistently finished in the medals nationally. Then in the 80s, it died off. So I'm proud to see this team and likely a revival of the sport here. So that's pretty cool. And I know I've seen some photos as well, kind of circulating on social media. I believe one of the teams in the 90s, or it might have been maybe the 80s. I think it was the 80s, won a silver or a bronze medal in the President's Cup, the Senior B National Championship. So obviously the history's there, and you can see that there's a hunger for the game, and obviously the Thunderbirds are doing a good job revivaling it. I'm getting an answer here from Harry Baker. It was 1970, and it was a silver against Ontario. So pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and Pat, on that quick too. I mean, we found that out real quick as well. You know, everybody said that it wasn't a popular sport in Halifax, and when you're there, people will quickly let you know it's more popular than I think people were giving it credit for. And one thing we have been hearing from the local organizations, the youth organizations, is the registrations are up already for this year. So you know that's great to hear, and that's something that we obviously strive to do as well, is to build the sport in the community we're in. So that is a good point, and I'm glad we brought that up. But you know, when we went in, we heard that it wasn't a popular sport there, and I disagree. And as we're seeing with our attendance, it's definitely more popular than people gave it credit for. So.
And I think Chet could kind of talk to that a little bit. I know he's been doing a great job with our Lex 101 blogs every week.
Yeah, those are awesome.
Incredible stuff in there, content-wise. He spent a bunch of time with he's with New Brunswick now. Yeah, kind of talk about the growth that you've seen over the past couple of years.
Yeah, the infrastructure for one. I mean, I've seen a couple of our board members and stuff in on the call here, and lots of people who've been a part of building this over the past 5 years or so. And I mean, long before that, early 2000 is when there was a major revival and the Metro Minor League started here. And I mean, a big name that needs to be recognized for sure is Wayne Fink. And Dan played in the NLL as well for the Philadelphia Wings. So Wayne also played in the 70s, and he was one of the guys involved with getting the Canada Games teams going. We're talking about those medals and stuff in the 70s. That was actually the Canada Games silver medal that Nova Scotia did get back then. So that was pretty monumental. And no, we've got the coaches. A lot of our senior players are just coaching all the provincial teams now, and we've got a strong kind of volunteer base in that. So you fill in all those gaps, and you got you're moving as a unit. It's the same thing as our team. So everybody's pulling in the same direction out here. And I think, you know, although the growth has been somewhat flatlined up until now, all accounts are that the registrations were up prior to the mess we're in now. And it's a shame that we kind of lost a bit of the momentum here, because really these are visions, as Kurt alluded to, that people have had for a long time, and it took a long time to get to where we're at. But I think the future's bright, and we're piggybacking off it out in New Brunswick there now, and should be some good competition for Nova Scotia. That's always been the biggest problem too, is we don't really get any competition until nationals. We might get to a tournament or something, but to actually have two provinces, and we're talking about getting an Eastern Canadian Championship back in the early 1900s. They used to play for the Nelson Cup, which was donated by the Montreal Amateur Athletic Association. And they were inspired by the fact that there was a group of Maritimers out here battling it out, and they used to travel far and wide to come play for this cup. So hopefully we can do something like that. We're on the path to hosting the President's Cup as well. We got a bid in there. So I mean, you do that, you add all the players from our team, and you put them into the coaching pool potentially in the future, and all the groundwork that we could do. It's like you know, we've had some monumental victories. We beat BC, we beat Alberta, we even beat Iroquois, so Haudenosaunee. So you know, those are historic wins for us. And you know, hopefully a lot of the kids in our program were getting beat 20-0 by those teams, and now we're competing and beating them. So imagine what we could do with a full army of Thunderbirds behind it. So
yeah, absolutely. I know we got Corey Becker there. We haven't had a chance to check in with Corey. Just wanted to say hello and how you doing, and just briefly talk a little bit about your journey to the National Lacrosse League.
Yeah, everything's going well. Just been trying to stay in shape, staying in the gym, taking bike rides. But no, it's definitely a journey. Surprise at that too. I still remember the call I got late August from a Kersey. So yeah, it was a long journey, but happy to be here.
Yeah. Many people might not know your background of your lacrosse. It's obviously not the traditional one. Some of the ones that we've talked about, you know, playing in the Ontario Lacrosse League, or, you know, going through any of sorts of ranks like that. Can you maybe describe how you ended up with the Halifax Thunderbirds?
I mean, I started playing just reservation lacrosse when I was younger, and then eventually I moved on to the OLA league. So I played for Niagara on the Lake for a couple years, and then as of recent, I've just been playing Senior B for Tuscarora. So it's definitely a big step for me. I mean, bigger, faster, stronger. Obviously, I think the biggest surprise was just the general IQ of all the players on the floor. Just such high IQ out on the floor. So.
Awesome. Well, it's great to see you're doing well. Want to say hello as well. We saw her on camera earlier, but want to say hello to Dana Jackson, who's our floor reporter there and puts in a ton of hours as well. Dana, how are you doing out there on the East Coast?
I'm good. We're hanging in there. It was a little rainy here today, but we're doing great, like Kyle said before. Just hoping for some good weather and hopefully some Thunderbirds lacrosse postseason. It was actually nice when we did go to that flyover downtown. We ran into some fans and social distanced and said hello to them, but they're still, they really want lacrosse back here, so they're still hungry for more.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Well, I'm glad you're doing well, and you guys are holding down the fort a little bit down there. And Pat, before we wrap it up, we should mention as well, I mean, tomorrow's a big day, big Mother's Day. I don't know if there's any moms watching out there or not, Patty, but we should give them a shout out because lacrosse moms are the best moms in the world for sure.
Absolutely. My mom better be watching, I hope, at least. Like, come on. But yeah, no, we want to wish everyone, all the moms, lacrosse moms, a very happy Mother's Day. Obviously a little bit different with these circumstances, but if you can, do a drive-by, have a social distance, hello, send your flowers, because obviously our circumstances aren't what we're normally used to, but we can still make our Mother's Day special, can't we?
Oh, absolutely, for sure. And I know, Coach Mike, you also wanted to give the first responders a big shout out as well tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're doing a fantastic job, with COVID-19, and there are frontline people right now. So to put themselves in harm's way, to help those that are less fortunate to get COVID-19, just a huge shout out and thank you to them. For all that they do keeping us safe, and also a big shout out to our veterans, that keep our country fantastic, who fought for us in the past and continue to serve us now. We can't thank you guys enough for your service.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Obviously not all of us are able to be in Halifax, but all our hearts and our thoughts and prayers are with them right now, as it's been a tough few weeks, but they had the Halifax Thunderbirds back throughout the season, and now it's a time for the Thunderbirds to have their back, no doubt.
Yeah, well said, Pat, for sure. And one of the big nights was the Military Appreciation Night. I know some of those folks are watching tonight that were at that game. That was also a very special night at the Nest as well. And hopefully we're back at the Nest for another one of those big nights as well, and it'll be an emotional night, no question about that. So anything else, Patty, before we wrap it up? We got to get in here.
Yeah, I actually got a question from Facebook a little earlier. They said they see a lot of hats right now. Are they hiding any bad self-quarantine haircuts, maybe a little do-it-yourself? No. Well, Bushy's still got his lettuce.
Yeah,
looking pretty good.
Is Benny still with us? He can let us know who needs the haircut the most right now, Benny.
Yeah, I think Benny left. He's
gone. He's gone.
He's hitting his driving range in the backyard right now.
He actually did get a bad quarantine haircut, though. I don't know. I think Jade gave him a terrible fade.
That's awesome. That's great.
It
Now,
looks terrible.
Cody, I got a question for you. You've been around the game for a long time. You've played in some huge games before, some big crowds before, and obviously what you've seen this year, maybe not the biggest crowds, but would you say one of the more energetic and electric crowds you ever played in front of?
Yeah, for sure. I think Kurt kind of alluded to it earlier. The difference between coming from our past market to Halifax has been night and day, and it is something special when we get to the arena and we feel that energy and excitement. And I think for a lot of us, we never felt that before from a home team. Rochester had very, very passionate fans, but they were they weren't the loudest, and they were quick to turn on you. And before, like, I don't mind it, but a couple of our down years, I actually think Kersey was playing with me at the time, and we got booed out of our arena on more than one occasion. So they're definitely passionate, but it's a good feeling when when everybody's standing up on their feet, especially after we lost that one, and to still get that standing ovation and feel that excitement, feel that crowd, feel the energy. It's definitely something that I know as players we don't look past that.
No, that was a special night, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I still think Thunderbirds the only team not to lose at home in regulation. Still not a regulation loss at home, right? Is that right? So as tough as that one was that night. Listen, Pat, it's been a special night, and I'm getting word that we are going to have more of these perhaps down the road, more of these great Alexander Keith's virtual nest table talks, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah, we're excited to have more. Also stay tuned to social media about some more other announcements within the virtual nest, as the Thunderbirds are calling it. So we know we can't be with each other right now in person, but the T-Birds are doing their best to make sure that we're all connected as a team, as a fan base, and as a community.
Yeah, absolutely. And before we wrap it up, does anyone want to mention anything before we go tonight?
I think I just want to give a quick shout out to Avery, to Charlie, to John, and to Kyle. Yourself and Pete. You guys work tirelessly behind the scenes to allow a smooth transition for us game day and doing things like this. I think that just is a phenomenal thing. It keeps us in touch with our fans and with each other. And I just want to give a huge shout out to them. And finally, a shout out to Kurt Stiers. I mean, without his vision to bring this team to Halifax, none of this would have ever happened. So I think he's the guy that leads the charge. He had the vision to bring us there and to put our roots down in the city of Halifax. And I think it's going to be something that's going to continue to grow and develop. And we're looking forward to getting back to the floor.
Right on. Well said, Mike, for sure. Absolutely. It all starts at the top and makes its way down, and everyone has their role. And it's just been a lot of fun. Certainly spending the last hour and a bit with everyone, Pat, and I know you can attest to this and agree, I'm sure. Just I miss everyone even more so now after we've all got together, and hopefully it won't be long before we can see each other and enjoy some more Thunderbirds lacrosse.
I don't want to hang up, to be honest.
Well, what do you got? What do you have to do anyway?
Nothing.
Yeah, nothing. No.
A couple of Alexander Keith.
Pat, I have a question for you.
Sure.
I'm just wondering, how much product did you actually have to use to get your hair to stay up like that today? Was it a whole bottle or?
A lot more.
I mean, I'm just jealous.
It's so long.
I'm just jealous, but yeah.
Yeah, I desperately need. I found out my barber got his. It's like a Barbicide COVID-19 certificate, so he's going to be able to do haircuts starting next week with a mask, and yeah, so I'm pretty pleased, because like if you would crack on it right now with the amount of hairspray I needed to use for it to stay up, it's pretty crazy.
Quickly, guys, I just want to read off a note here from Jim and Debbie Lothar, big supporters from Vets Canada. Obviously, much of what happened on military night this night is largely in part to them and what they do to service the community in Halifax, but not only just in Nova Scotia, but across Canada. They truly can't say thank you enough to the players and staff for supporting Vets Canada for this year's military appreciation game. They're incredibly excited to come back next year and cheer you guys on. So they just wanted to share along that message and thank all of you guys for taking part in that game and in kind of the events leading up to it. So.
Right on. All right. Thanks, Charlie. So on behalf of I want to thank all the players, all the coaches, everyone that took time out, all the fans that asked great questions and just listened to the conversation. We appreciate it. Stay safe. Again, as we mentioned, happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there tomorrow, and do what you can to celebrate that. And thanks to Alexander Keese as well for your support tonight of a little virtual Nest table talk. So on behalf of Pat Gregoire and everyone, I'm Pete Dalladay. Thanks for joining us here tonight, and hopefully we get a chance to do this real soon. Good night, everybody.